Today's video, I'm going to be leaving behind my $3,000 worth of cottage backpacking gear, and I'm going to be taking out this $500 budget gear loadout that I bought on Amazon. And I want to see if I've been wasting my money all these years. All right, well, I just got dropped off at UGQ Gap, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to hike in, see if I can't find a camp spot. Now, once I find a camp spot, what I want to do is I want to get all this gear set up. We're going to go over it and kind of talk about what I like and what I don't like. I did that first reaction video, so if you didn't see that, I'll put a link to it above. That was my first reaction of seeing the gear being unboxed.
Dude, I'm actually super impressed.
But I want to see what it's actually like to be utilizing this gear out in the field. So the first thing that I did is I wanted to dial in the backpack. So after I got dropped off, I wanted to make sure that I had, the backpack, the straps fitting right, adjust my chest strap, adjust my load lifters, and make sure that I got this thing cinched on nice and tight. The total amount of weight in this gear loadout was just over 10.5 pounds, but I did wind up adding in my puffy jacket, which is another 10 ounces. So that's gonna put me a little over 11 pounds on this gear loadout without food and water. I am carrying 2.5 days worth of food, and currently I have about 2.5 liters of water. So with all of those things, I think we're probably in around 15 pounds total for this entire gear loadout. It is the fall here in Georgia. All of the leaves have fallen off the trees, and I have my eye on a camp spot that is going to have an absolutely beautiful sunrise that I've never been able to camp at before, and I want to make sure I make that happen on this trip. All right, we're gonna stop here and shed a layer. Done with the majority of the first climb, and I want to take this Octafleece off. It keeps you nice and warm. It was about 40 degrees when I left the gap this morning, but after that climb, I'm completely warmed up, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing off. I was starting to sweat through the back of that thing there, basically where the padding is on my back, on the backpack. So far, I have no complaints about the backpack. There is one thing that I don't like, and that is this front strap. And it's just because I haven't lowered it yet. So what I think I need to do is I just need to lower it. Let's do that now. It is up too high on my chest, which is fine for some people, but I got pretty broad shoulders and a wide chest, so it's a little inconvenient where it's at on me. Oh, it's sewn right there. Never mind, that's as far down as it goes. All right, let's keep hiking. All right, we've made it up onto the ridge line. We got some beautiful views now that the fall and all the leaves have gone. We were just up here in Georgia last week, and a lot of the leaves were still on the trees, and fall hadn't completely taken over yet. So it's interesting to see how big a week makes a difference. This should do. A nice flat spot here, fire ring if we need it, up on top of Blue Mountain. Yeah, so we should have a beautiful view of the sunrise. I got pretty much 360-degree views all the way around me. So this will work. All right, let's get some of this gear out, get it set up, then I'll show you around everything that we've got. We got to camp earlier in the day, but I did that on purpose because I don't know this gear very well. We're gonna do a short day today. That way I can get everything set up, make sure that I'm comfortable and I like it. And then we're gonna do a longer day tomorrow where I'm gonna put about 15 to 18 miles on carrying the backpack, carrying the load, and see how that goes. It is supposed to be in the 30s tonight. And that was at Hiawassee, and we're at elevation. So it might drop into the lower 30s up here at elevation. We'll just kind of see how that goes. All right, it's getting about time for lunch, so I'm gonna go ahead and break out my cook system. And I got my tiny little 450 milliliter Pokes pot, which I think I'm gonna enjoy. And I'm gonna be trying a new flavor of my Foundation Outdoors. I'm gonna be trying the beef chili with beans. I wanted to see what the chili's like. This has 47 grams of protein at 730 calories. And today's the kind of day where it's a little bit chilly, and it's great to have some chili on a chilly day. If you want to check out Foundation Outdoors, they are a partner with the channel, and you'll get 20% off if you use the code LEO20. And so yeah, so check them out. But let's check out this cook system and see how it works. All right, this is the fire maple torch that I bought. I think it was around 13 bucks, something like that. It will absolutely do the job. It does have its own little piezo lighter, and I didn't bring a lighter with me, so hopefully this thing doesn't fail on me. All right, let's try this chili. Oh, that looks delicious. Look how chunky that is, not runny at all. Lots of beans. You can see the black beans and the red beans in it. That was good. Good chunks of meat. All right, I'm gonna eat this, and then we got one more thing that we need to test tonight to make sure that it works, and it's pretty important. All right, here's the next thing that we have to test, and that is this Normandy water filter here. This is a budget water filter, so I've never used one of these before. Back, Leo. And I also don't have a bladder, so I'm going to be using this as my dirty bottle, and then I'm going to fill my other 2 bottles with filtered water, and then I'll carry back 1 dirty bottle back to camp that will have to be filtered while we're in camp. Now, this isn't the strongest water source in the world, but we're going to make it work. All right, that's pretty decent. So, I mean, not a bad flow. Now we're going to connect this guy here. It says we'll keep this as a dirty bottle. Now, I can drink directly out of this spout if I want to, but we're going to use it right now to go ahead and fill these other 2 bottles, and then we'll fill 1 dirty bottle to bring back to camp with us. That's the thing I hate about filtering water this way, is these bottles don't go back to space unless you let some air into them. So you have to loosen it up, let the air back in, tighten it down again, and then squeeze again. I won't know if a budget water filter gets me sick until I've drank it and sat for 24 hours. I think it should be fine, but it's the first time I've ever used a budget filter. Now, this is the Lanshan 2 ultralight version of the tent. It's just under 3 pounds. It's about 2.5 pounds is what I think it was. And I've paired it up with what I have here is the Nature Hike sleeping pad. So we're gonna get this thing blown up and put inside the tent. And it's supposed to have an R value of 5. And we're gonna see, yeah. I didn't have enough in my $500 budget to get a pump for my pad, so we are going to use the sack to blow this thing up. All right, the way these sacks work is pretty simple. Fill them up with air, roll it down. This is the first time I've ever used a sack. Normally I ditch these things and bring a pump with me, but being on a budget, I also could probably blow this thing up and just leave the sack altogether, and that would save me a couple of ounces, but it's not a big deal. I think the sack may be 2 ounces total, so I'm not really worried about, carrying extra 2 ounces when my total, base weight was just at around 11 pounds. All right, so this is the $10 pillow. It looks basically like a Trekology pillow. So we'll get this thing blown up and add it in there too. As you can see, nothing fancy. It does have the dots on it to help from slide it around, but with the pad attachment, it'll stay on that pad really well. So I'm not really worried about that. I am a side sleeper, so I might need to add a little height, so I'll probably add like my puffy or my sleeping bag, depending upon how cold it is tonight, whether I need those things. Oh, you want so much attention. Yes. But we're gonna add this in there, and then I'll get the rest of the camp set up. All right, this is my 850 fill down sleeping quilt that we're gonna throw in there and let it loft before we go to bed tonight. And nothing fancy. It does have pad straps, so if I need to get cold, I can strap it to the pad. So yeah, we're gonna get this thrown in there. I typically don't sleep with pad straps, but that's just me because I'm a very warm sleeper. All right, so we got to get a good night's sleep to see if the sleep system works, so I can't really test that right now, but there is something else that I can test today, and that is, boom. Let's go see if this thing digs a nice hole. All right, so here is the budget backpacking shovel that I got off of Amazon, Trowel, if you will. And basically, it would be just to dig a hole. And let's see how it does here. I can tell you right now, it'll dig. I wouldn't say it's very comfortable on my hand. If I have to push down, I'm having to push onto what's almost like a blade. Don't you see me digging a hole, Leo? So, but as far as will it work? Yeah, 100%. I think it works here. I'm gonna show you my finished hole when I'm done digging it out here. Nice little hole. Now go away, I got some business to take care of. For bed, and the nice thing about being out here on the Appalachian Trail is sometimes you come across a spot that's got the bare cables. Being on top of Blue Mountain here, you know, it's easy for me to just go ahead and hang my food for the night. Just like that, so the bears don't get it. All right, the sun is fixing to set, so I'm gonna be making dinner, and we've got some AT thru hikers here finishing up their hike, heading Sobo. So I got everything set up in the tent, and we're hoping that this Amazon gear keeps me nice and warm tonight. We're gonna have to see. The sleeping bag is the thing that probably worried me the most, just being kind of an off-brand, but it says it's an 850 filled down sleeping bag, and it says it's rated for 20 degrees. It's gonna be in the low 30s tonight, so we're gonna definitely find out. I'm gonna eat dinner, and I'm gonna climb into the tent, and I'll give you guys an update on whether I got a good night's sleep or whether I froze in the morning. So last night was a pretty eventful night. We probably had upwards of 35 to 40 mile an hour winds. But all in all, I think, the tent held up well. I mean, my pitch is still good. The only problem that I had during the night was at some point that this stake had come up, and I had to kind of reset that stake on my front tent flaps here. That number one could be user error. I didn't maybe give the stake a good enough angle. Or number two, this definitely could be improved by adding some guy outs, right? So it literally, that's the only piece of material on holding that on there. So if it had a little bit more play, so just by adding a little bit of string to it, I think it would be a better system as far as being able to figure out the best place to put the stake if it wasn't so limited to just about 1.5 inches of guy outline at the end of that. So that's a simple fix that I can make. Trekking poles held well. Tent is good. Trekking poles didn't slide or anything. And the sleep system, I was impressed. I slept well. I mean, the down comforter, the down quilt, I wasn't just warm. I actually had to take it off because I was kind of getting a little overheated. So I was only covering like the lower half of my body. It didn't get as cold as I thought it was going to get last night. It was probably maybe in the upper 30s. So and that being a 20-degree sleeping quilt, it definitely kept me warm throughout the night. And I was pretty impressed with the nature hike sleeping pad as well. Not as wide as I would like a sleeping pad to be, but I mean, I'm a side sleeper, so that's not that big of a deal. I was able to sleep on my side and sleep comfortably. Now, the pillow is the one thing that I would say, the reason why I didn't like the Trekology pillow is because it's just not tall enough. I have wide shoulders, and being a side sleeper, I did have to add my puffy jacket and my mid layer to my pillow system in order to get enough height on the pillow so I could sleep comfortably. But again, those are all in all easy fix. I don't want to be nitpicky. So I mean, as far as budget gear goes, I mean, this $500 kit, you definitely can take this out and go backpacking for, you know, 3-4 days, or I mean, this could be a kit that you do a through hike with. It really isn't that bad. I mean, I don't know about durability and how long this stuff lasts, but it doesn't seem to be made out of cheap material. It looks like it's all sewn well. Same thing with the sleeping pad and the quilt as well. You know, I feel like you would be able to utilize this stuff for, you know, for hiking at any level that you wanted to. So the one thing that we're gonna have to get our opinion about is, you know, we hiked in with the backpack. Now we got to do a little bit of hiking with the backpack and see. You know, as far as, you know, what it's carrying, less than 15 pounds, the backpack seems comfortable. I didn't have any problems. I didn't feel like I needed to over adjust it or anything like that. It does have a frame. It's, you know, the backpack itself weighs less than 3 pounds. It's like a 2.5 pound backpack. It holds a good amount of stuff. If I needed to put, you know, I've got all of this gear in there, and normally I don't even put my tent inside the backpack. Normally I put my tent on the outside of a backpack, so that if it is a rainy day and I need to get to camp and set up, I can just pull my tent off the backpack, get it set up, and put my backpack inside the tent while it's still closed. So there's plenty of room in that backpack, and so we're gonna hike out with it, and I'll give you my final thoughts on it. But all in all, I've been pretty impressed with this Amazon gear loadout. I don't think that, you know, any of this gear is the highest end gear or the highest quality gear. I definitely didn't like digging a hole with a trowel. It was definitely uncomfortable and felt like if I put too much pressure on it, I could cut my own hand open. And I don't know about the water filter long term either, how long it lasts, how good a flow it will keep for the long term. But for a weekend trip, definitely doable, and this will definitely help you get back out in the backcountry. So it's still windy this morning, so I'm gonna go ahead and start packing up camp, and then we're gonna get back on trail, put some more miles on this backpack, and yeah, and then I'm gonna wrap it up with just telling you how the backpack does, and yeah, we'll finish this thing up. Well, my final thoughts on this Nature Hike backpack after carrying it for a little while longer is, I mean, it's a decent backpack. It definitely does the job. Being a roll top backpack, it's got plenty of room for you to be able to store as much gear as you need for a 3 or 4 day trip. And I mean, I only carried 3 days worth of food, but if I was carrying 5, I don't see a problem with it fitting. It feels good on my back. It's got a good amount of padding in the shoulder straps. It's got a good amount of padding in the hip belts as well as on the back. When I'm not wearing my mid layer, I do feel like even it's very breathable on the back. One thing I'm not real keen on is this chest strap being right here underneath my neck. Being that it's sewn in, I can't really adjust it or pull it down from where it's at. So that, you know, for me being a larger guy and having larger shoulders and broader shoulders, that's been an issue. But that could be cut off and replaced with a different shoulder strap. I could put it in the lower region there. I think this is made for somebody with a smaller frame than mine, probably somebody closer to around the 180 pound mark and lower, and I'm about 215 pounds, so everything's kind of setting up. But the backpack's not sagging on my back, the load lifters work, and all in all, it's been comfortable. With the 15 pounds that I've been carrying, I really haven't felt it or felt like there's any strain or, you know, wear and tear on my body from carrying it. So all in all, I'm impressed. So I guess we've answered the question, can you go backpacking with a $500 gear loadout from Amazon? Absolutely. Everything that I brought out here was a complete success. It worked, even though there's little quirks here and there with the gear. Everything is definitely something that you would be able to take out and enjoy yourself and have a good time out in the backcountry. And that's what it's all about, really. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.